Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, our group apologize to Ustad and thanks for the guidance and knowledge given. Before starting the group assignment presentation, I introduce myself. My name is Musyari Mustafa. Our group Muhammad Fitri, Muhammad Qaizi, Muhammad Hafiz, Siti Atika and Norila. The title of our group assignment is Islamic International Trade Contract. Okay, first introduction. Salam is one of Islamic international trade contract provided by a few Islamic banks. Salam is a form of forward contract when the price of the asset is paid upfront at the time of the contract for an asset or commodity to be delivered later. It can also be defined as the sale where the asset commodity is delivered on deferred basis in exchange for the price be paid immediately. This is different from the idea of murabahah, where the price is paid of deferred as basis but asset is delivered immediately. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will continue the background of this topic. The basis of Islamic banking is based on the premises of an existing of an underlying asset. The asset itself must have the following attributes. Firstly, the asset must exist. Therefore, an asset which does not exist at the time of sale cannot be sold. Secondly, the seller should have acquired the ownership of the asset. Therefore, if the asset exists but the seller does not own it, he has no right to sell it. Thirdly, mere ownership is not enough. It should have come into the possession of the seller, either physically or constructively. If the seller owns an asset but he has not taken its delivery himself or through an agent, he cannot sell it. The only exception of this rule is the contract of Salam trust sale and istina order sale. These two contracts deal with the sale transaction involving an asset which is at the point of contract is non-existent. The basis of Salam. The origin of Salam can be traced back to the tradition of the Prophet, who observed the practice of paying in advance of produce to be delivered within 1, 2 or 3 years in Medina. At the beginning of the contract, the sale did not specify the quality, measure or weight of the dates. The Prophet, whoever pay money in advance for fruit to be delivered later, should pay it for a non-quality specified measure and weight of date or fruit, of course along with the price and time of delivery. Report by Imam Bukhari. Therefore, Salam addresses the need for liquidity and the preservation of the entrepreneur buyer's right.
The importance of Salam to the society. Salam contributes to economic prosperity because it eliminates the liquidity constraints of one party and satisfies the need of a buyer once the asset or commodity has been delivered. As Salam contract typically involves significant sum of money, the contract also permits large economic activities. It also necessitates a considerable degree of economic trust between the fund provider and the party delivering the asset or commodity. In the modern sense, this indicates that the contract provides a price hedge for the consumer and a cost hedge for the party delivering the asset or commodity. In brief, Salam enables the delivery of an asset or commodity in the future at a reduced cost because the funds for the assets or commodity are made available at the beginning of the contract. Features and characteristics of Salam. Due to the fact that the Salam contracts involves the delivery of non-existent assets, the Sharia emphasizes that strict rules must be followed in order to safeguard the rights of all parties. Among the regulations of Salam are: the vendor agrees to deliver a particular asset of at a future date in exchange for immediate payment in full in advance at the outset of the contract. At the point of contract, the object of the transactions, the assets, becomes a debt, so payment cannot be delayed. The capital of Salam may consist of cash, services, or property rights. The object of exchange must be fungible, that is, it must be able to be specified by weight, size, volume, color, quantity, quality, or grade. It may also be a service with clear parameters. The object is also interchangeable on the market and obtainable, despite not being in the seller's possession at the time of contract formation. Paper currency cannot be the object of exchange because it is not a commodity or asset. Salam cannot be applied to assets whose values fluctuate based on distinct assessments. Values must be specified. The delivery location and time must be specified. Delivery in installment is permitted if all parties agree. Early delivery is permitted if all parties consent and no party is harmed.
Hi, my name is Siti Nur Atika. For the features and characteristics of Buy a Salam, Salam must end with a genuine physical gesture. The vendor of an asset need not be the asset's manufacturer or producer. The vendor may act as the delivery agent. The Salam is conclusive and binding upon receipt of the initial complete payment for the sale. The terms are only subject to review and modification with the assent of both parties. Before delivery, the vendor bears the risks associated with the asset, and upon delivery, the buyer assumes those risks. The client is obligated to take possession of the specified asset upon its delivery if it conforms to the agreed upon specification. Next is application or subscription of Buy a Salam. Buy a Salam application can be submitted online or in person at the nearest Islamic bank that offers the contract. Salam is technically a sale in which the seller agrees to deliver specific goods to the buyer at a future date in exchange for an upfront, completely paid price. From the preceding discussion, it is clear that Sharia permitted Salam to meet the requirements of farmers and merchants. Therefore, it is primarily a method of financing for small farmers and merchants. Modern banks and financial institutions can utilize this mode of financing, particularly to finance the agriculture sector. Currently, in Malaysia, Bank Rakyat, Bank Islam, and Agro-Bank are examples of Islamic banks that offer this product. Thank you.
This is the modus operandi or the process of hybrid salam financing or mixed salam financing. First is identify the seller. The customer want to buy 100 kg of flour for Rm 18,000 ringgit. However, the customer doesn't have enough money to pay in full price at the beginning of the contract with the seller. Second is application and promise. The customer asks the bank to buy a salam from the seller and promise the bank to buy it from the bank with deferred payment. Third is Buy a Salam. On 1st May 2023, the bank will buy 100 kg of flour for Rm 18,000 ringgit in cash from the seller. The flour will be handed to the bank on 20 May 2023. Fourth is Sale Delayed Payment or Mu'ajjal. On 20 May 2023, after receiving the flour, the bank will sell it on deferred payment for a price Rm 25,000 ringgit within 3 years to the customer. Second is the modus operandi of Salam product as working capital financing. Jamirah Food Industry is a chip manufacturing company. They have regular customers such as a supermarket and grocery stores who all need 100 kg of potato chips. However, to produce that many chips, they need capital or working cost of RM100,000. For that purpose, Jamirah Food Industry made an application from an Islamic bank for Salam financing. The following contract is the flow for Buy Salam scenarios and products. On 1st June 2023, the bank purchased Salam 100 kgs of yams of certain quality from Jamirah Food Industry and paid 100,000 ringgit in cash. Jamirah Food Industry has to hand over the chips on 1st August of 2023. On 1st August 2023, the bank appointed Jamirah Food Industry as its representative to sell 100 kgs of the chips to its various customers with the total price agreed to be 150,000 ringgit. The remaining balance is Jamirah Food Industry as an incentive. Jamirah Food Industry managed to sell all 100 kg of the chip at a price of 170,000 ringgit and gave the bank 150,000 ringgit and got an incentive of 20,000 ringgit.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Muhammad Hafiz. So I will go to the third modus operandi or process of Buy Salam. That is Salam financing in parallel Salam. In modern times, a similar Salam is generally said, but banks are not involved in farming, so they are not part of the Salam. So in order to deliver the commodity or goods to a customer, the bank enters into a parallel Salam with a third party provider of commodity or goods to deliver the same on the expected delivery date. For example, if a customer wants 1,000 tons of rice to be supplied in 6 months at a set of price of 5,000 ringgit, they can sign promise to purchase with the seller. For parallel Salam, Salam number 1, the bank signs a Salam contract with a third party supplier to supply 1,000 tons of rice in 6 months for 4,500 ringgit. For Salam number 2, the bank signs a Salam contract with the customer to supply 1,000 tons of rice in 6 months for 5,000 ringgit. So, the bank will get the 500 ringgit difference. So, for the result of using Buy Salam as Islamic international trade contract, all of them buy and sell halal and contribute to real economic development. All of them trade in one way and contribute to real economic development. Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you for watching. Salam.
The power lies on their side. Zaitun suci, zaitun segar, zaitun tetap sejati. Zaitun memelihara diri, barangan bermutu kekal.